Vice put out a new episode of Dark Side of the Ring. Chris and Tammy, as we said earlier.
Safe, right? This bitch.
This cunt bag.
This fucking slut whore, bro.
Like I said in the intro, literally every man's worst nightmare. That's why I think putting the title Dark Side to this was really apropos. Now, I
don't even think that's a real man's nightmare. I think it's a male's nightmare. If it's a male nightmare for an alpha male, it's an average day for a beta or a cuck.
Now you could say
that's their life.
You could say in today's day and age that Chris Candido was just ahead of his time. What was going on?
That man was he was a progressive bitch.
Chris Candido is definitely the definition of cuck.
Cuck to the fullest, bro.
To the point that it was like even his brother stepped in and was like, dude, let's get the fuck out of here. This bitch ain't worth it.
He's such a cook that everybody around him that was talking about him had to say, well, if we told him 20 years ago that he was going to do all of this and die at the age of 36, he would be happy with it. No, the fuck, any man would not be that happy with that, bro.
It got so sad that to a point where, and here's the thing too, is Vice, I believe, glossed over a lot of the cucking situation that was going on. And I guess let's just talk about it, because
I don't know if they did it. They did. They PG cucked him. It was PG, but they definitely was going at him.
I think they were protecting him. Because if you actually, let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because if you actually listen to like Sonny's, Tammy Stitch or whatever her fuck her name is, her actual interviews about the situation, she dogs the fuck out of Chris.
Oh yeah.
Like to the point where you hate this bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You almost look at her and go, I can't believe this is the beautiful Sonny that we all jerked off to in the 90s.
The reason why I say that they PG'd it, because everybody almost had the same answer with the Shawn Michaels ordeal. Do you think Tammy was Shawn Michaels? They all went.
Of course.
Do you think Chris knew?
I think Chris was in such denial because one, he couldn't. I don't want to say he couldn't say anything because he could have went to other companies and just said, "Fuck it, I'm not gonna let my Or he could have just left Sonny.
Early 90s, bro. The goal of any wrestler in the early 90s is to make it to WWE, bro.
WWF, yeah.
WWF.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the thing is at what point do you let the star fuck your wife and you don't say anything about it?
They literally said it in the thing. They were like, he was so much for WWF and wrestling that he'll let any of that slide.
It was his passion for wrestling.
Passion for wrestling.
More than his passion for Sonny, so to speak. Yeah.
And I think after a while, her pussy got dried off of that. Why she bounced off to other niggas.
It could be because maybe they are putting a little too much like romanticizing.
Because they talked about it.
Because what man is going to sit there and not have any reaction to that shit?
They literally said it without saying it when they're like, oh, he kind of took a turn when he realized that she was the star. He was no longer the face. He was just.
So you think there was jealousy in that?
He was jealous, and she's dried up.
The way they told the story, I got the Sable Mark Merrow kind of vibe, where Mark Merrow was supposed to be the big star,
yeah,
and Sable took that away from him. And then at the end of it, he was carrying her bags
because they literally like it was never for her. She never wanted to do it.
She wasn't into it.
Cornette gave her an opportunity to make extra money because he couldn't pay Chris enough.
This is why I'm saying like they really cheesed it up for the cheating thing. Is they glossed over it. They didn't ignore it. They just were like they didn't go in depth where like
the most in depth they got to was Chris will be in the ring wrestling and she'll be in the back with another dude. That's all they would say though. Yeah. It's like. What does that mean? Just fraternizing? No, if you listen to the interview, she was fucking. She was fucking him.
Hardcore fucking dudes while he was in the ring wrestling.
And the reason why Bret Hart ever even talked about Sunny Days with Shawn Michaels in it because he couldn't get some. Everybody else around him was getting some, and he couldn't get any. So he outed it.
You think? I don't know if Bret really like, because the way Sunny seemed, she seems like a chick that like a dude that was married and had kids and shit. Even if he was gonna cheat, it's not gonna be with a bitch like that because you could come home with something.
But you got to remember, they even said it. She was the hottest, the most download picture on the internet. The most.
That don't mean shit if you know her in real life and you seen her banging dudes on the regs.
But it's wrestling, bro. You knew they were all barbaric like that. They're all gonna get some. So if all of them was getting some and one couldn't,
and it was the 90s,
yeah,
motherfuckers weren't thinking that clearly.
Yeah,
maybe. You know who looked busted too was Terry Runnels.
What the fuck was that, bro? Whew. Surgery did not save that bitch at all, bro.
She fell the fuck off, huh?
Jesus, I didn't even know who it was. I was like, which random bitch is going to talk about wrestling? And I
thought they were playing a clip from Lucy when she started to lose her throat. And then she came on. I was like,
I thought it was Snooki.
I don't know. I saw Sean and
definitely
Tammy in the back.
That's Lisa from the bar.
What the fuck? Yeah.
Going with the cigarette in her hand. Let me get a shot of whiskey.
It's Bart Simpson's aunt. Yeah. She sounded horrible. But yeah, I mean I don't want to get, I guess, too much into it, but they glossed over that a lot. And I think it was a lot of, protecting Chris's
protecting Chris's legacy because he's not here anymore. And I guess they really can't indoctrinate her because she's still here and going through shit.
And she's in jail right now for murder.
For murder. And they showed it.
Drunken vehicle at the end too.
They put it in. Hey, she's just getting worse and worse.
She's even Jim Cornette was like, she's a fucking lost cause, man. Fuck this bitch. He was done with her. He's like,
because I think
Jim
really
Cornette
cared
was holding,
for Chris.
He loved Chris.
Yeah.
That was another thing. Jim Cornette actually like broke down and did the like, I can't, give me a second. And you never see Jim Cornette do that.
When he walked off, he said, I never cry for anybody. So
right. So
but Chris,
I think he felt for Chris in the whole thing of like where Tammy was such a piece of shit that Cornette was probably like, he needs to get the fuck away from that bitch.
Bro, they were saying it, but I could only imagine it. Shawn Michaels and Tammy's right here. She's on his lap. Chris is right here looking forward.
I don't think it was that bad. If you listen to the stories, it was basically
the brother said something like that, like he would just focus what's going on in front of him.
From what Tammy says in her interviews, it was more like there was like they were openly flirting with each other type of shit, but never around Chris.
Yeah.
And it was sometimes she'd be in the back just doing whatever, and Sean would pull her into a fucking room and bang the shit out of her. And
while she was talking to Chris, pull her away.
I don't think it was that level of cucking.
Grabs her face while they're on stage, on camera, kiss her, hump her, do all of that.
Well, remember there was a lot of interviews where like she'd be sitting on Sean's lap. They even played one.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm feeling...
Yeah.
You feeling it? You feeling it?
She's like, I'm feeling it.
He's like, I'm feeling. Yeah.
Chris is watching that, bro.
He's probably right on the side. Just
like that shit is crazy, bro.
He's sitting there going like, Intercontinental Championship. It's coming.
It's coming.
I'm gonna get it.
Well, he did get the title. He did get the championship.
Tag
the heavyweight
team.
He got the heavyweight too.
He didn't get the heavyweight.
Yeah, he did.
When?
He had the heavyweight. They said it in the.
I think he just won the tag team.
Oh.
I don't ever remember. It may be an ECW, which, to be honest, that's where I know Chris Candido from, was ECW. Because they would always play the, December to Dismember, Chris Candido. They would have him like in the match and shit. But yeah, I like the whole thing where they say he got addicted to pain pills because of the injury. I think maybe that's how it started, but I think he got addicted because he was either in such denial about the Tammy thing.
It was XPW
Championship. He was in such denial about the Tammy thing, Or he was, as I think Cornette said, he internalized it because he felt like he couldn't. It was going to ruin his career, which, like you said, he loved more than Tammy.
Yeah. And anything where Lance Storm is in the picture. Lance is giving the stories too, bro. Him giving stories.
Even he cried too.
Yeah, everybody cried during the interview, bro.
They did, yeah.
But it's also what we also talk about too is Chris is dead, just like Chris Cannon and all of them. They all have this same spill that they talk about, like these guys were legends before their time and all this. It's like Tupac and Biggie, bro. Give it a rest, man. They weren't that great. If they were here today, they would be washed up, bro.
I'll be honest. I saw like they were even playing some Chris Candido like promos and stuff. And I remember Chris Candido. I was like, I was never. I knew his name because his name was kind of cool.
Yeah, I just remember the power bombs off of the.
Which that was a dope fucking move.
Yeah.
Which also would never be a move now. I don't think.
It would be
such a dangerous move when you look at it. I kept replaying it when they were playing it and I was like, that move is crazy.
Yeah, they do it sometimes. That's like
special.
It's an OMG moment now.
Which it has to be because even in the documentary, Lance Storm said that it fucked them up so much they went to the emergency room, and the doctor was like, I have to see the accident report. And they were like, no, I wasn't in an accident. It was my back.
In a car accident?
I'm a fucking wrestler. His back was so messed up from those power bombs.
Yeah.
Every week.
Like whoever was winning gets the opponent.
Gets the power bomb.
Yeah, gets the power bomb.
Yeah. You were saying something, sorry, about Lance Storm.
Just the fact that Lance Storm is his peer in wrestling, like that's his tier group.
Oh, I see. I see.
Being dead, what was he going to really be still here today, bro? Like,
which, you know what? To a degree, though, I do agree that if wrestlers like Lance Storm were around, like let's take like a Al Snow, if he was in wrestling right now, he'd probably be in the main event. Just because look at I'm talking just based on his character. Like, look at the level of characters that we have now. It's just.
His character then was mid, but it now would be supreme.
A Steve Blackman right now would probably be a main eventer.
Steve Blackman right now, but he's a cruiserweight and he's Chinese.
Well, that's not a Steve Blackman then.
He does all Steve Blackman moves, bro.
Steve Blackman is a regular white guy who could fuck you up.
in the gi pants.
Here's somebody who I have tremendous respect for in wrestling, but we have to flame him. Paul Heyman. Because Paul Heyman really fucked over Chris Candido. And
Paul
Tammy.
Heyman was a piece of shit, bro.
So Chris Candido, he did a good thing at first, which seems to be the Paul Heyman stories back then, is he tries to do good and it just ends up blowing up.
Yeah.
Chris Candido gets injured and Paul Heyman gives him an office job in ECW. The office job was that he had to book flights, hotels, and all that shit for all the wrestlers.
With his money.
Paul had him using his credit card, his personal credit card to book it, and they would give him the cash later to reimburse him, to pay it off before it was due.
Yeah.
ECW goes out of business.
And stops paying this man.
Doesn't pay this man. And I'm guessing the way it seemed is Paul kept saying, we're going to get you next week. We'll get you next week. They go out of business. They leave Chris Candido with over $10,000 of tens of thousands of dollars is how they put it, of just booked hotels and flights with nobody to pay it. And he lost his house. He lost everything pretty much.
I heard it was like over 80.
I wouldn't be surprised because that would rack up. He must have had good credit, huh?
It's Chris Candido.
It's Chris Candido. That name fucking carries weight, apparently.
Card never declined.
Guy had a heart of gold. Yeah, that was pretty fucked up of Paul. I don't,
And then turns around and tries to do the Vince McMahon.
What?
And do a terrible story with Tammy.
Oh, where he did the Brian Pillman wife thing almost. That wasn't after he died though. That was just when she came out.
Yeah, like
and she was all fucked up.
Everybody called her crack whore. And
She's
shit,
a crack whore. I get that now. I didn't really ever get that chant. But if that was what they were chanting it for, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because she came out looking
quite crackish, bro.
Looking like Wendy from Breaking Bad.
Looking like Whitney.
Yeah. And she was starting to lose her looks at that point. Yeah. And then
she was already losing it because Stable took her spot. Stable came through the WWF, washed her away, bro. She took the same storyline, elevated it.
I don't know if she could have competed with Sable because Sable was getting, we've talked about it before, she was getting Austin numbers on the ratings.
Yeah.
So
Tammy at one point was, but you know, Lou has to come around and
listen. At one point,
you
Tammy
weren't doing Playboy, baby.
At one point, let's not take it away from her. At one point, Sunny was the sexiest bitch on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Period. On any network, it was still Sunny.
And she had a great personality. It was just they said it was all fake. It was all fake.
Yep.
And there was another thing that Cornette said that just to take it to where we usually are, politically, is how he brought Tammy into the business. Is he basically made her a Hillary Clinton supporter?
Yeah. In
a Republican area, and his whole idea was, I just want to piss off the Republicans.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make this, creative thing to do that. And I'm not mad at that. And I just wanted to point that out because that's the attitude that they have when they make their shit. So when we do what we do and Republicans come at us and go, "Oh, you're being a little harsh," suck my dick. We do this to do exactly what Jim Cornette did.
Yeah.
I want to piss off leftists and make them angry. For entertainment purposes. Nothing more. They do it. Why can't we?
That's why we 5,000 strong with 2 strikes.
Easy. With 2 strikes and 1 on the backup. Fuck that.
We good money over here.
We doing it. So I just wanted to point that out. I just felt that when I was watching it. And I actually respected the move. I'm like, that was a great move to make her a Hillary Clinton supporter. It's a hated thing. Easy. And she played it off very well too.
She did. Dressed like Hillary and all. It was great. I almost
wanted to roast Mick Foley at one point.
I realize Mick Foley is definitely just matter.
Just what do you mean?
He's just here, bro.
He's just there.
Yeah. Anywhere he is, he's just there.
He made his mark already.
Yeah. So, I mean, anything else he's on, like if you watch shows that he's on, reality shows or anything, that he's just there.
It's obviously not on this level, but it's like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan already did his thing that he's going to be known for. So now he's just there.
No, Michael Jordan's still a coach and stuff now.
Well, Mick Foley does stuff too. I'm just saying they did their thing that they're going to always be known for. They're never going to top it.
If you ask Mick Foley a question, it's just a...
It's there. It's in the ether.
It's either I'm not here for this. I'm not here for that.
Hey, both. Hey, to each his own, man.
Everything's great, man.
Everything's great. This is where I was like, I wanted to wring Mick Foley's neck. I wanted to throw him off the cell at this point. He goes, yeah, Tammy was known to be very divisive, and I think it's just that's the stigma that you get when you're a woman in a man's business. And I'm like, no, it's because she was a piece of shit and she was divisive. It wasn't because she was a woman. It wasn't political.
It was like, man, Tammy's a bitch. I hate Tammy. Tammy wasn't good. Tammy, I love Tammy.
She was divisive, but hey.
I knew how to get along with her.
Aren't we all divisive at points?
Shut the fuck
I like Coke, you like Pepsi, huh?
Still soda.
We all drink soda, right?
The same ingredients, less sugar.
If you asked Mick Foley who has a better burger, McDonald's or Burger King, he would go, I think they both make a great product.
Facts. That's what he'll say, bro. I hate that.
He doesn't want to take a side.
I just like burgers, man.
Hey, we all
Matter
eat
of fact,
burgers.
I stopped eating burgers. I'm vegan now. I just eat.
But if you want to eat burgers, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying, I don't eat burgers.
It's okay.
Dude, you're missing an ear because you were the most barbaric wrestler ever. Can you give us something?
Was he barbaric or was he?
Can we ask Necro Butcher a question? I bet you he'll give us a straight answer.
Stop being dude love and be Cactus Jack for Pete's sake.
Yeah. Foley was kind of annoying me in that he just wouldn't. He wouldn't give He wouldn't give any hardline stance on anything.
No.
And it's like, bro, this is the easiest thing to do. She's on trial for murder for driving drunk and killing a man. I think you could say. You could criticize her a little bit.
It's really decisive, man. Could have been an SUV or a car. She could have hit, man.
What speed was he going? You never know.
Did he have on his seatbelt? Did you ever ask him?
We all make mistakes, right? Oh, fuck me. Let me see. Are we missing anything?
I
know. I think we hit everything.
That's pretty much the 90s toxic relationship between two people because they talked about knives being drawn, and the next day Chris is like, hey, guess who's coming over?
That's another thing that I think where I don't believe Candido was just taking it. I think that's where the conversations came up, quote unquote conversations.
Yeah.
That's where the conversations came up where he was confronted her about, you're fucking Sean. I know it. Everybody's talking about it. And he just wouldn't do it in public because he knew that was going to fuck up his career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think Candido is definitely fighting with her over that shit.
I definitely think the only reason why people knew it happened because Sonny came with black eyes.
The fuck happened?
Bing, bing, bitch.
Yeah, it looked like a cartoon fight. It's just a puff of smoke and just moving.
They definitely glazed over that.
They glossed over that too.
Yeah.
So maybe one of the most toxic relationships in show business might be up there with Bob and Whitney.
Well, yeah, I get. Well,
Maybe not as bad.
And then talk about her just. If he was taking somas and she's taking somas, I'm pretty sure he's like, yeah, take somas with me.
They had to be doing drugs with each other at some point.
They try to just glorify Chris and say that, or glorify Tammy. I don't know which one they're trying to glorify by saying she just fell into it from entertainment, and
it was definitely a softball hit piece on Tammy.
Yeah.
Justifiably. I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it. But excuse me. But yeah, I mean, also, I guess let's not gloss over the death either. That we kind of talked about it yesterday, where he dies of a fucking blood clot because he travels after a broken ankle. It's crazy. And kind of reckless.
Broken shin.
That's what it was. And that was a pretty nasty looking break too.
Yeah. And for him to be dedicated to take a plane, he didn't have to.
Yeah, it sounds lame as fuck, but at the end of it, I thought to myself, can you love something too much? That's kind of the question it left me with.
You really can, though.
Can you love something too much?
Yeah.
And I think you can. I think Chris Candido proved it. That might be the cautionary tale of Chris Candido. He loved
everything in moderation, bro.
He loved wrestling so much that he looked the other way when somebody was banging his wife because he didn't want to ruin his career.
Yeah.
What do you do in that situation? You just leave your wife, right? You might go, listen, we can still work together, but it's over. That's how you keep your career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you look the other way.
I would have went to Vince McMahon when Sable got signed. I was like, look, I got a storyline. I dropped this bitch. Get this bitch.
Candido and Sable? Huh? Vince was like, get the fuck out of my office. sending you to ECW. Get the fuck out of here.
You and your bitch.
Yeah, we don't need either of you.